As you can see behind me, and I know all of you have been out here monitoring the progress that has been going on for the last week. We've made a lot of progress in the last week, and I can't begin any discussion about this park project without thanking all the volunteers that have come out. We've had several hundred. I'll let Kay probably tell you the exact number. We've had several hundred volunteers that have been working with us over the past week. And for those who have not had a chance to, or maybe those for one reason or another cannot, I got to tell you, this is just a tremendous effort. It's a tremendous effort on the part of the community. It's an experience like no other. It's really incredible to see everybody participating and contributing and coming out and working together. And people that are strangers. I mean, you have people coming in don't necessarily, everybody doesn't know everybody. But once they get on that work site, they become friends, and they develop a good relationship with each other. There is just something about this work. I remember seeing the movie Witness several years ago, and that was a story that as part of the storyline talked about the barn raising, where the people in the Amish country would come together and they would support one another and help each other build a barn. Well, this is sort of the same type of thing, and it's a really worthwhile effort, and it is something about building character as a community, and it also reveals the character of a community when a community can do something like this. This is not the first time that we have done this. This is the third time that we have done this. The first time, of course, is when we built the original Millennium Park, and the second time that we did this is when we built Adventure Cove, and then, of course, this is number 3 that we're working on. So this is the third time. So each time that we do it, we involve a different group, we involve a different concept, but the outcome is always the same. It's a tremendous park for our children. And what I wanted to do was to highlight not only where we are in the course of the build, but also tell you a little bit about what's coming next. Okay, because a couple of questions have come up over the past several days about, when can the kids come out, when can we start playing? And I get that question about every other hour from the students and the young people that are working with us on the build. When's the playground going to be open? Well, what we want to explain is that you can't play on concrete, okay? We can't play on concrete. We'd have to play on an approved safety surface for these types of playgrounds. And that means we had one or two choices. Either we play on sawdust and chipped wood like we did originally with Millennium Park, or we do like we did at Adventure Cove, and we put in a nice 4-inch rubberized surface that is handicap accessible, that you bounce when you fall, and but it's a surface that you have to put in, and we can't do that with volunteers. So while we're having the volunteers help us to build the basic structure of the park, we have to go out, and we have to go out for bids, and we have to get a contractor to come in and actually pour that rubberized surface. So we anticipate being able to accept those bids for the contract to install that surface within the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and we should be able to get the bids in and accept those bids, and then get that surface installed. And as soon as we know a little bit more about the actual date, who the contractor is going to be, when the contract is signed, believe me, we're going to keep everybody informed, because we know that is the question that is being asked. The question in everybody's mind is, when can we actually go out, and when can the children play on the park? So that's coming, and it's going to be coming fairly quickly, but it's something that I hope that everybody will understand. This is our effort to make this truly a first-class park. This is going to be something that I think the community can really be proud of for years to come. It's going to be, not only is it going to be improved in terms of the quality of the material and the quality of the park, but it's also going to be bigger, so it all fits together. And then the next part that we're doing, which is why I wanted to have these boards here, what you're seeing behind me right now, is the area in purple. On the layout, on the green area there, the layout in purple, that's the playground. Okay, that's the children's playground. But all around that is the rest of the park, the rest of what we're referring to, I guess, in a larger sense, as Millennium Park. It's going to have a spray park. It's going to have a interactive fountain type activity, which is very similar to the type of spray park that we have at Adventure Cove. This shows you a little bit more detail about that park, but I'm referring to the anchor right here in this area. It's going to be laid out in the form of a boat anchor. And then you have the grand entrance into the park with a major canopy area, which is a covered area, which will have some park benches and areas where you can sit down and relax. And you have other park benches throughout the park. You've got these walking trails. You have two walking trails actually. One that will be around the perimeter of what we're referring to here as the playground, and then a larger walking trail that'll go around the perimeter of the overall perimeter of the park. So that's also what is going to be included in that bid package that we have going out, and that we are going to be that's going to be going out, I should say. And that's really phase 2 of the park. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is what you see behind me, plus the rubberized surface. Phase 2 is the rest of the park, which includes the playground, which includes the spray park, and then the canopied areas, the park benches, the walking trails, and then you have a double fence. You have a fence around the entire perimeter, and then we have a fence, as you can see, around the playground. One of the things that was mentioned during our community meetings and trying to improve the design of the park was they wanted to make sure there was one entrance so that the parents wouldn't be concerned about their children getting out of the park and running into traffic or whatever, and also for security reasons. And so we put a fence around the large park area, then a fence around the playground itself, so there'll be plenty of security. And then in addition to that, we'll have an area here off to the sort of the southeast section of the park, and that area is going to have a concession area, which will have another area which will have some seating and some facilities, some bathrooms that'll be inside the fence itself. So again, that's going to be the phase 2 of the park. That bid package will be is already going out, and that bid should be accepted mid-December, with construction actually starting on that part of the park sometime after the first of the year. So what will have to be done during this whole process is we'll have to build in some flexibility. Once we get that poured rubber surface in, we'll open the park, kids will be able to play, but as we go through that construction phase, we'll have to be sort of flexible as far as our scheduling of the park is concerned. But I can promise you that if everything goes as we hope, and we get this park opened and get it up and running by around May, June of next year, this will be a true destination for children and families from all over Southwest Louisiana. And before I turn it over to Kay, I'll let you ask some questions, but I do want to mention this. What has really been incredible, just a couple of things stand out in my mind. One gentleman in particular, I won't mention his name, I don't know if he would want me to, and maybe he wouldn't mind, but our oldest volunteer that I'm aware of, okay, we may have had an older one, but our oldest volunteer that I'm aware of showed up at about 8 o'clock, I guess it was Thursday morning, and worked most of the day. This gentleman is 85 years old, and I said, you know, what brings you here? And he said, I love kids. And it's just so heartwarming to see people like that. And then we've had people from all over Southwest Louisiana. We've had people from Braggley, we've had people from DeRidder, we've had people from all over Calcasieu Parish. So this has just been an incredible effort to date, and I can't tell you how proud we are of the volunteers. And then before I call Kay up, I gotta thank Kay, and I gotta thank the steering committee. This just doesn't happen. Okay, what you see behind me just doesn't happen. This is a kind of like a military operation. There's a lot of logistics that goes into moving stuff and moving things around and making things happen. You got your fabrication tents, you got your supplier over here, you got your first aid station, you've got your concession area, you've got your volunteers being checked in and everybody being monitored. You got your children area over here. You got people being fed over here. It's like almost like a military maneuver, and then you've got the work that's being done back here, and it's all working, okay, and it's being done by volunteers. It wasn't, quote, where I knew who was coming and when they were coming and what time they were coming. We had some idea, but we didn't know exactly who, what, when, and where. But it all has come together, and it just goes to show you what a community like Lake Charles is capable of, and a community of Southwest Louisiana. So again, I can't thank them enough, and our site captains and other folks that are working on the committee. Let me tell you, these folks are here every day, okay? And they start about 7:30 in the morning, and they're here until about 8:30 at night. You do that 5 or 6 days in a row, and you get a little tired. So we had to take a couple of days off. So hopefully they're getting some well-earned rests on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll come back and we're going to make that final push for next week. But we really need the community to show up in force between Wednesday and Sunday in order for us to really be able to accomplish everything we want to accomplish in getting this park ready to go and put in that rubberized surface and make sure that we can get it open as quickly as possible. So the next 5 days will really help tell the story or answer the question, I should say, as to when can we open the park. Well, if we get everything done like we think we can do, then that means we can put that rubberized surface in pretty quick. And once we get that rubberized surface in, then we'll be ready to go. But I'm going to let Kay kind of talk a little bit about volunteers, and then she'll introduce Mark Leathers in a minute. Mark's standing over here and right behind Karen. But I got to thank Mark. I want to thank you and your team. These are the guys that designed all of this. I got to tell you, I don't know if Mark would mind me saying, I've already said it once or twice. We were over here looking at the tree house, and I said, "Man, that's big." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Didn't realize it was that big. It doesn't look that big on paper, but boy, you put it up, it looks pretty big." And then he said the same thing about the pirate ship. And he told me, he said, "Well, you wanted a big ship, and well, we got a big ship." So we're doing well, and we're really excited. I think Kay Barnett wants to be the first one to go down the tree slide, but I don't know. I think I'll let Kay do that because it looks like it's got those tight turns, and I don't think I can handle that at my age. But anyway, I want to introduce Kay Barnett. She is our chairperson for Millennium Park. Kay has done a great job, as she did originally with the build. She and Jake Philman were co-chairs of the original Millennium Park build. And so what we did is we recruited her. We brought her back out of retirement. And she's done a great job, and I'll let her kind of talk about whatever it is that I didn't talk about that I was supposed to talk about, and then some. So come on up, Kay. Come on.
I'm gonna try turning this back on if that helps, and if it gets. And the community passion for this project is unbelievable, and the community spirit, and the families that have come out, and companies have brought their employees, and you just, it's just one of those things you drive up and you get the goosebumps. We've had over 2,000 volunteers. That's incredible. I think Saturday morning it was about 370. So we've had a lot of momentum this week. We need that momentum to continue next week. We need workers. Our afternoons have been a little slow with volunteers, so what I say is if you can take an afternoon off from work and go in and do what you need to do that morning and get here that afternoon and maybe stay through the evening as well. But it really has been, it's starting to hum, and we want that to continue as well. So I wanted to see what kind of questions you have as well, and then Mark Leathers, I want to introduce him because Leathers and Associates is a company that's been, I guess, over 30 years now, 40. And Mark's Father Bob, this was his concept, and we come together as a community and say we'd like to see this, and we'd like to put this history and these kinds of things in the design, and they're the ones that take our vision and they make it come together in the design. So I just would love to hear from you, Mark, on kind of your perspective of what's that like to be on that end of a project. So maybe why don't you come on up, and then we'll take the questions at the end. Mayor, you might want to come back up at that point too.
I want to say thanks to the community. And this is my third time here. So we did this park once and did the Adventure Cove one. So I'm starting to learn the area and learn the people and the volunteers and the potential of this community. But what you see behind me is pretty unusual. We do this all over the country, and communities pull together and do this process. But what you see behind me is another notch bigger. So the first Millennium Park was unbelievable, but what's behind us now is going to be 10 times better. I mean, not only are we have a complete difference in materials, but the design process and the final design we came up with. You know, we have a huge tree house, but we have a gigantic pirate ship in the middle of it, and both of those features are gonna be exquisite. So, you know, there's a real opportunity, let alone for the master plan for the entire area. But I completely agree with the mayor. You know, this is definitely going to be a destination, playground destination area for the community, and the committee and everybody has done an unbelievable job again. So we're in a situation now where we have a 2-week build, and we've been doing very well. We've had good volunteer turnout. We're basically down to 5 days, and what we really need from the community is to continue to show up. But we're looking for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday maybe to get a little more of a kind of an even number, so we don't have kind of the highs and lows, because we know on the weekend we're going to get the big turnouts to finish. But what we really need is people showing up during those weekdays. So, you know, if you have an hour or two and you think it isn't going to make a difference, I promise it will. So if you got that kind of time, show up and be a part of this. It's a great opportunity. It feels, you know, to be involved in this. I've grown up with it all my life, but to watch what communities can do when they team up is just incredible. You know, it's completely changed, you know, my life and our focus, and you know, we're fortunate to be involved in this kind of thing. We meet the best of communities, and once again we're here, so it should be a good finish. So please come up. It's a good time. You don't want to miss it. So,
any questions? I think this is what we need to move.
That's her.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought maybe it was not liking each other. I'm sorry, I thought that was an extra one we had. Okay.
Do you want to say anything about, you know, are there
Do you have 2
specific
pair of
shifts?
glasses on?
What? Yes, I do. Yeah, I know.
It's Halloween.
Bizarre.
I think you should invent those.
I like that. I was going to make sure I was looking correctly.
Schmitty eyes. Anyway, do you want to say anything about, you know, specifically when you want, are there certain shifts, and do you want people to, like, you know, still sign up or
Just-
to show up, or are there shift changes at certain times, or it just doesn't matter?
We'll probably all 3 have something to. That's a pretty good question, and I want to kind of use this as an opportunity to correct, I think, one of the impressions that some people have had, and that is we have shifts from 8 to 12, 12:30 to 4:30, and then 5 to 8, 8:30. And they say, well, if I don't make the shift, that means I can't come. And it doesn't mean that. But what we have the day structured in shifts for our site captains. Okay, our site captains are doing a tremendous job, and they work all day. They got to take a break. So when we take a break from 12 to 12:30, they're not here, but so they're taking some time off. But if somebody has just an hour or so, hour or two, as Mark just mentioned, during the day, during the shift, and they want to come in and they want to work, come on in. They don't have to pre-register. They don't have to go online and pre-register. We can handle all that right here at the volunteer tent, and we can take people when they're able to work, as they're able to work, as often as they're able to work.
Okay, how late are you going? Just until dark? Or
Till
whatever?
8:30.
yeah, we've been going till 8:30, but you know, again, if we have 100 people at 8 o'clock, we'll probably push till 8:39. You know,
And we have lights out here.
Yep.
So, and Saturday night we're going to be out here, and we'll actually have probably the LSU game on the radio.
We're gonna put a big screen up here.
Any particular skills that you're really short on? Or?
No, we really can use everybody. I mean, especially this second half of the week, we had kind of goals on the first half that we needed to obtain. But going into next week, we're literally going to do everything. So we got an amazing amount of even just artistic work that we're going to be doing. So a little bit of painting, cutting out little details, you know, right down through the construction. So honestly, you know, there's a job here for everybody. So don't feel like, you know, because you're not into carpentry or good with the tools, that there isn't an opportunity, because there definitely is.
Because a lot of the people who we put 3 people in a team as we bring them out on the site, and 1 skilled and 2, well, someone who can use a circular saw, that type of skill, and then 2 people who aren't as skilled as that, and we bring them out there on the site, and they work as a team. So we need a lot of help with someone holding a board while someone else is drilling, you know, and putting bolts in there and so on. So you know, it has a little kind of system to it, and it works very, very well. Also, you know, we do have the daycare. The daycare is available from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. in the evening, and that's for children who are out of diapers up to 9.
We don't change diapers.
And so that has been going very, very well, and we want people to know that that's available to them. So please come out and bring those children those ages, and we will take care of them. And then children 10 to 13 on the site need to be with their parents or an adult, and then 14 to 17 can serve as an unskilled worker, and then 18 and above can work as skilled if they can do a circular saw, or unskilled as well.
So you kept talking about when the kids can show up. You think maybe you can christen it with the pitter patter of little feet, like maybe within a week or so, or?
Oh no, but that's the one question that I've learned painfully not to answer, because as soon as we say a date and something happens and then everybody's disappointed, I can assure you that there is no one within the sound of my voice that wants to open that park any sooner than I do. But I have to be realistic and understand that we have to go through that bid process, and there's going to be a contractor coming in, and there's scheduling, and there's weather, and there's rain, and there's different things that can interfere with that process. So I think that we could probably give you a better idea as to the time in about another 2 or 3 weeks. We can tell you what that time will be, but I think it'd be better at this point not to start speculating when the date of actual opening would be. Now, let me say this: Sunday afternoon, when we're finished, the park will be open for viewing, and we certainly want to have all our volunteers and all the community to come out and see the work that has been done, and see how it looks, and just sort of get a good feel for what that playground is going to really feel like once it's open for play. So that will happen. That event will take place Sunday afternoon, as we have always done, to try to have a little a sneak preview of what the park is going to be about. But again, we can't have children, as you can imagine, climbing on those structures and swinging and do those kind of things, and then have hard concrete underneath them. It just wouldn't be the right thing to do.
And my understanding, when the rubber surface is laid out, that I think they cover about 2,000 square feet a day, and then it has to dry. So each day they're doing 2,000 square feet. So you figure 20,000 square feet, that's 10 days. So we have to get that right. It has to be up to code, and we follow all of that so that we can have an extraordinary playground. Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
Thank y'all very much.
We're good.
All right.
Appreciate it.